Hello, my name's Lee McEvoy, and I'd like to welcome you to today's episode of Partner Spotlight, brought to you by Tech Data and IBM. And today we'll be speaking to Tom and Rob from Northdoor, and joining us later will be Martin Bruce from IBM. So welcome, Tom and Rob. If I can ask you both to give a brief introduction for yourselves, if I can ask Tom to go first.
Yep, good afternoon, Lee. Thanks for having us. So my name is Tom Richards. I'm the practice lead for IBM Systems at Northdoor. So over my time, I've been fortunate enough to work with clients from multinational banks, so down to the smaller mid-market. So hopefully here to try and share some of my experience.
Good afternoon, Lee. My name is Rob Sutherland, so I'm a client manager for Northdoor. So I'm responsible for anything that we take to market. It's got a good number of clients in all sectors of the market.
Excellent. And a little bit more about myself. My name's Lee McEvoy. I work for IBM in our systems division, and I'm responsible for storage and working with business partners and service providers primarily. So if we're going to kick off now with some questions to Tom initially, and what I'd like to understand from you, Tom, is if you can give us some idea of what some of the storage challenges your customers face today, please.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lee. So I think certainly some of these challenges we've had for a little while. Some of them are maybe slightly newer, based on the situation we find ourselves in. But certainly the first one we're finding is around the certainty, and that, well, maybe the lack of certainty that some of our clients have got in terms of where they are now, where they're going to be going. Certainly when we used to look at forecasting, and traditionally we would go to a client and maybe we'd look at a 3 to 5 year plan for a storage forecast. But especially if you turn the clock back 3 months, it's been difficult for some clients to come up with a 3 to 6 month plan. So it's understanding it was never a simple process in this forecasting, but now where do they go? What do they provision? Because in most cases, from a budgeting perspective, they've still got to make that investment last for 3 or 5 years from a write-down perspective, but they just don't know where they need to go for capacity. I think one of the other ones that we're seeing is a business units that are pushing for a cloud-like adoption. So whether that's in terms of they want to refactor their applications for containers and they want a storage technology that can support that, or that they've become accustomed to consuming storage in a cloud-like model. So they want the flexibility that just traditionally hasn't been there with kind of monolithic storage arrays. And then I think the third one is, it's been around for a long time, but it still hasn't gone away, was doing more with less. So whether that's sweating assets for longer, or whether it's trying to reduce the cost per terabyte by data reduction technologies like deduplication, compression, and also obviously going around all of that is a security concern for whether it's encryption, whether it's having an air gap copy of the data, and how do they achieve that with a traditional storage environment.
Certainly, going back to your point about cloud-like solutions, often that can mean different things to different organizations. So it's very, very important, as you highlighted, to understand whether cloud-like means moving applications to being refactored, containerized and portable anywhere in a hybrid sense, whether it means I'd just like to pay OpEx. So it's a very good point you raised there. Can I ask what kind of feedback you get from your customers and prospects when you're positioning IBM Storage to them?
I think the perception is IBM Storage, or IBM as a vendor, could be relatively expensive, quite clunky. But given where we are now, certainly in the last 5 years, IBM certainly is reinventing itself. So the feedback we get now is when we go in and we see clients and we talk about IBM Storage, they're actually more receptive because it's really competitive and compelling. So if you look at the examples of Gartner, etc., they're always in the top right-hand corner. When there's competitors that come into play, we've had examples. I've had recent examples where basically we've managed to displace competitors by just being more competitive. So when it comes to price, it's really, really compelling. And I think the perception historically, IBM was really expensive, so that's completely changed nowadays.
So I think we have a mixed message depending on whether we're talking to an IBM client who already knows the benefit, or a new client that maybe have never considered IBM before. Because I think historically IBM has been regarded as an enterprise product, and turn the clock back, it was an enterprise product. It was, they came from the mainframe, and obviously that's why they still have the majority of high street multinational banks are IBM clients. But I think with the message we're trying to get across is that that's no longer the case. Yes, we've still got all the enterprise features that have been developed over those years, but what IBM have now done is brought those down into the lower and the mid market. So what the message is that just anybody can it's open to anyone, not just the largest clients now. And I think adding to that, what people may not be aware of is that IBM are a much larger organization than just storage. So we, for example, with their industry-leading software-defined storage approach, there's everything from performance block to scale-out file to protect to cloud object store. So there's a whole, whatever you want to do, whatever the storage need, there's something in that portfolio for you. And especially when you then consider the challenges clients have got trying to move into a hybrid cloud model. If you consider IBM's purchase of Red Hat and the acquisition of bringing OpenShift online, the ability to provision workload, modern workload in a way in which we can span both on-premise storage and the cloud is something that other vendors just aren't able to offer.
Certainly, I do see a similarity between the position EMC had through their ownership of VMware in the prior cycle of IT to what IBM's trying to achieve with Red Hat. And let me just clarify that. I don't see that we're going to stop Red Hat from working with other vendors, because that would not help the value proposition for customers. But being the first among equals, being at the leading edge of what will be capable, being part of the Red Hat and IBM play is actually already bearing fruit in customers and prospects where effectively they hadn't been thinking about IBM storage before. The capabilities that we've now got and that we can clearly demonstrate as being seamless and one throat to choke type benefits through that Red Hat acquisition, it's making a real difference to us in IBM storage.
Yes, no, excellent. And I think going back to the trying to challenge that perception that IBM is expensive and enterprise, that's part of what we're trying to do today, is inviting clients to come and look at the portal, try and reset their expectation of where does IBM sit in the marketplace, and hopefully there'll be a realization that actually it is one to consider against the vendors that they might traditionally have looked at.
Excellent. I can't ask for a better link to our discussions with Martin than what you've just said. So perhaps that's where I'll introduce Martin. Hi, Martin. Thanks for joining us today. For those of us that don't know you, would it be possible for you to give us a quick intro, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. So Martin Bruce, I work at IBM and I'm the flash systems leader for Europe. So leading the product here.
Brilliant. And I was wondering if you might be able to give us an overview on the Storage Digital Platform, what it is and why we've created it, please.
Absolutely. So, I think I'll address the why we've created it. We realised two things, that really that even though people's day-to-day lives are touched by IBM in numerous ways, every time they pay for a credit card, when they talk to their bank, all various ways, they're not necessarily seeing IBM on the desktops or the laptops that they're using anymore, because we're not in those markets. But we are still incredibly relevant in storage. And so it's to make people think about IBM when they think about storage. And it's also to change the perception that people perhaps think that IBM is the think adverts on television. It's for big business. It's not necessarily relevant to me and my business. But absolutely, it's to change this perception that we have solutions to cover all price points in the market, from the very largest organizations down to small and medium-sized businesses. And really, the digital platform itself is, as it says, it's an online portal where customers can view recommended retail prices for our Flash System 5000 solutions, and then be put in contact with our specialists on the phone, over chat, or indeed online, and then essentially be put in contact in the end with a business partner who can help them further on that journey, clarify their needs and that the solution meets it, and really move forward with the customer going forwards.
Excellent. So this is a really quick and easy way of customers and prospects who potentially don't know much about IBM, seeing if IBM is a good potential fit for them.
Absolutely, and for example, the platform has both a recommended price and also a recommended monthly price as well, should they want to spread the cost. And indeed, you can spread the cost of the payments. You can have the flexibility of our Flash Momentum program with an upgrade in 3 years' time for the same monthly price or lower. And realistically, the platform has systems starting on it from only £200 a month for over 20 terabytes of storage, including 3 years support. So it really does try and address all needs.
I think that would challenge a lot of preconceptions about IBM just being for big customers with big budgets, for sure. So I guess, what do we want people to do with this digital platform? What do we want our business partners such as Northdoor and our customers and prospects to do?
Okay, so as I say, it's the platform itself is one facet of this. The other facet is the marketing campaign and the awareness campaign that's going on with it. So hopefully some of you out there have heard the adverts that are playing on digital radio stations. We're inserted into podcasts. Hopefully you've seen it on banners. And really here, the call to action is to, whether you're currently looking at storage or not, you're in the market, have a look at the portal. You'll see the fantastic prices that IBM Storage can start at with flash systems for your business, some of the features and functions there. And we're going to evolve the platform over time to bring in the concept of quarterly offers, so that there's always a reason to come back to it. And really, I think to improve the awareness of IBM Storage in the market, that we have things that are relevant for everybody and for our partners to work closely with us, because we see this as a fantastic portal for them to leverage as well, to reach more of their clients with a rich experience that then demonstrates the fantastic price of IBM Storage, hopefully, versus what they're using today. And they can then begin a conversation with their trusted partner like Northdoor, for example, or others, to really bring that to a conclusion and talk about their detailed requirements. But, as a starting point, they'll have a recommended price of something that hopefully meets their budget.
Excellent. So if I paraphrase, an organization can click on the link that will be attached to this video that takes them to the Northdoor portal, or the Northdoor aligned part of this platform, and they'd be able to validate within seconds that they're not potentially overpaying, or if they are potentially overpaying, see what they could be doing with IBM with a suitable solution that would fit their needs.
Absolutely. So, within seconds, click on the link on the video, you'll get to the IBM portal, and you'll see a number of offerings on there, ranging from all hard drive up to all flash, 20 or close to 50 terabytes, or indeed, nearline SAT offerings for backup repositories, that kind of thing, covering multiple capacities. You'll be able to see a price very quickly, whether that's an overall or a monthly recommended price. And then if you want, you can click through the portal and carry on that conversation with Northdoor.
Excellent. So quite frankly, customers and prospects have got very, very little to lose, probably less than a minute of their time, to be able to see that whether they need to continue the conversation with us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There was one piece of feedback that I did get given, which was sometimes people think, because I think the platform says buy now. And what I would like to say is, customers, we haven't already got your credit card details. So clicking buy now, it's not like Amazon. We're not going to take the money out of your account. Strictly speaking, it should be more info, but effectively that's what it provides.
Absolutely, we aren't going to proceed straight to a purchase, and in fact, we will be softening that in a future release of the platform. It is very much a release one, but really, the call to action from the platform is, if you see something that you like on there, whether or not you were ready to make a purchase at the moment, perhaps you're not in that cycle with your storage, but really to have a look on there. If you see something that could be of interest for the future, click the contact now, click the chat now buttons, speak to our team that are based in Dublin. They can help you with your requirements, whether they're now or for the future, and then they can help put you in touch with an IBM business partner to further that conversation. And it's only at that point that you will anyway start to move towards a transaction. So this is about talking about your requirements, and then putting you in touch with an IBM business partner like Northdoor to take that on.
Perfect. Sounds like a great way of being able to demonstrate with very little effort from a customer or prospect why they should be talking to IBM at their next requirement for storage. That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you, Lou. Moving
on, would it be possible for you to give us an overview of who Northdoor are and how you help your customers, Rob, please?
Yeah, certainly. So Northdoor, we've been around for over 30 years. Our origins were originally insurance, but nowadays our client base is very diverse. So we've got everything from not-for-profit, so charities, NHS trusts, retail, insurance sector, banking, every type of industry. I don't think there's an industry that we're not actually in. So it's very, very diverse, which is good, keeps it interesting. When it comes to what we do as an organization, we are a premier IBM business partner with a specialization. We're classed as an expert in storage, so that definitely helps. Our go-to-market is very much around data. So we've always focused on data. It's quite funny. Not so long ago, there was somebody was spouting, data is the new gold. Well, we've been talking data for years, so it's interesting because data is the lifeline of every business. So we've got specific areas that we focus on around data. So one of them is called what we call store it. So that is basically storage. The store, protect it, and then we protect the data. So we've got a whole security practice, and then use it is analytics. So we do have end to end. Thankfully, Tom, he's our systems and storage practice lead. So it helps, that any of the Northdoor client managers can go in with what we call a subject matter expert. And yeah, it's quite seamless. The idea is that we go in and we assist. We don't charge for pre-sales or anything like that. We understand specifically what the client's looking to do. We scope the solution, and then hopefully we can engage and then deliver the solution. And then if the client needs us to manage it, we've got a managed service offering as well. So it's end to end.
Excellent. I have to admit, I am a fan of your store it, protect it, use it. I'll call it a marketing tagline, but it's really important. I'm obviously, as a storage person, very keen on storing it and also protecting it, but the business value comes from using it. So that piece at the end, once you've done the first two, use it, and then you're getting the value out of it. So I do like your marketing tagline for store it, protect it, use it. I think it's incredibly valid. One of the things that Tom did mention in his response was around the challenges customers are having, especially now, but have always had to an extent, around forecasting. So I was wondering if you could give an overview of the kind of challenges that you can help your customers fix with IBM's SUO and COD, capacity on demand offerings.
Yeah, so good question. And they are real challenges. We are facing them. I've had a real example that we've been engaged with recently, and the challenges that we faced were client wanted to do a refresh of their storage environment. The challenge was that they had a budget that, to be totally honest, was relatively limited. We have been able to actually increase that, but you've got two elements that potentially. One element of the business basically wanted just to invest in that area, and another element basically said, well, okay, although we're going to make this investment, what about the future? So using storage utility offering and capacity on demand, we've been able to actually position a IBM storage offering that will help them not only today, but it enables them to grow into it should they choose in the future. And the beauty of it is they don't have to pay for it from day one. So that was a massive benefit to the client because, as you can imagine, the whole procurement process, if after 12 months, if they choose to use that, they can then look at it then. So they can reset their budget, and from the business perspective, they can use it without actually having to pay for it. So that's been a huge benefit to the organization.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think having the ability for Northdoor to offer both the COD, which is capacity on demand, or SUO, because IBM loves acronyms, storage utility offering, it's really good to be able to make those kind of offers if customers want to have an OpEx model, storage utility is great because it also allows you to vary up, vary down. So going back to Tom's earlier point about cloud-like is supposed to be your usage determines the bill. So having storage utility where your variable usage determines the bill was very powerful for that for those customers. Not having to pay for storage you never actually use, that's also quite important as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's great. What we're talking about today, hopefully this is going to be the future. Is a great offering. It's good. I'm fairly confident a lot of our clients are going to be very interested in this. People that aren't on it today, obviously, will take the message to market, and we see it as a game changer. Excellent. Well, I look forward to working with you, taking that message to your customers. And just to close out with a call to action. So if you've got any questions that have come up from any of the points that have been raised on this video, or if you would like to follow up on the storage platform and look through and look at the link that will be as part of this video as well, what it will allow you to do is to confirm the pricing that you could get from Northdoor as a recommended price for an IBM solution. And what we'd very much like you to do is compare that with your most recent storage purchases. And we'd like to think that if you can see how you could get additional value from IBM, you'd be able to contact Northdoor and ask for some more information. So that was the call to action. So I'll now close out by saying IBM would like to thank Northdoor and Tech Data for making today's episode of the Partner Spotlight possible. And I'd like to thank the audience very much for their time, and also Tom, Rob and Martin. Thank you all.